Now, the word is that secret government forces are planning to stage a fake alien invasion. But is this real? And if so, what should we do about it? Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean. I want to give you an energy update for May and also address what is likely to become the next big thing to look forward to, a potential fake alien invasion. Now, this topic is likely to start coming to a head in May and in early June as we await the Pentagon's detailed report on everything they know about UFOs. So, because extraterrestrial disclosure appears to be the next big thing, and it could very well happen for real, but I really think we want to be very careful that we're not projecting it outwards, like way out there somewhere, and we're just kind of like waiting around to see what happens. I think if we even suspect that such a thing is possible, that we should take that as a signal that we need to really get conscious and centered and grounded within ourselves and be prepared for such what I really think is an inevitability. I can't say when, I can't say how, but I do think it is inevitable that we will be faced with the extraterrestrial universe because we actually live among many extraterrestrial civilizations. That reality can only be kept from us for so long. So let's take a look at where we are right now so far in this month of May. Right now, it seems that the controllers of this planet are well on their way to fully enacting their crazy plan for a totalitarian takeover. I mean, they don't seem to be the least bit dissuaded at this point, at least not on the surface. I mean, they kind of remind me of like busy bees who are preparing the hive for the next thing they want to create. The hive being us and our planet. Now, as this becomes more and more evident this month of May, I think we could potentially be given to hoping for yet another big event promise. So I think the next big event that we're going to be talking about more than anything else is not only extraterrestrial disclosure, but also the potential for a fake, made-up alien invasion. Now, here's the thing. You might say, well, Saratoga, I mean, if it's fake, why should we be concerned? Well, firstly, we should be concerned because it might actually happen. As you've heard me say before, they did try to pull this off back in the 1930s, and it worked famously just with a radio broadcast. There are going to be some profound psychological ramifications to this idea if we allow ourselves to go too deeply into this whole thing without exercising some real personal and individual discernment. Now, a lot of people are actually quite excited about the idea of a fake alien invasion, and that is completely understandable. See, if that were to happen, and even if many of us suspect that it's fake, it would still mean that our government is admitting in a very profound way that we are not alone in the universe. So in a very weird way, that would represent freeing all of us from the horrible lie that we've been told that there's no one else out there, it's just us. Now, I have said in the past that I do not believe the government will ever give us true disclosure because it instantly puts them out of power. It would be an admission that there are far more intelligent beings in the universe who they do not control. However, this fake alien invasion idea could actually solve that problem for them. And that's because they would make sure that the aliens were perceived as evil and as a threat in this bizarre theater that they would create. And, you know, if the aliens were evil and threatening, then of course we would never want to unite with those creatures and we wouldn't want to have anything to do with them, right? I mean, you know, these controllers are really so incredibly predictable, aren't they? Anyway, it would put the controllers in the role of saviors who just want to protect us from these galactic losers. And we all know how they would protect us, right? They would lock us down and control us in ways that we can't even imagine. You know, for our safety from the evil aliens. Maybe this health issue is just a warm-up for that. Actually, I think they kind of blew it already because they could have actually put these two things together and been a lot more effective than they are right now. See, they could have said, oh, people, the evil aliens are coming here and they're bringing a deadly virus that's going to kill everybody. We wouldn't know anything about that, right? And they could get us to do just about anything if they came up with that story. I wonder why they didn't think of that one. That seems like that would have been a really good one for them to tell. I guess they could still do it. I mean, who knows, right? Anyway, by now you might be saying, Saratoga, this is just nuts. There's no way they could pull off a fake alien invasion. I mean, that is just stupid. Well, then you might want to listen to Dr. Stephen Greer, who is the main person promoting this idea. I think he has enough convincing evidence to show that this could actually be possible. However, there is still a slight problem. I do believe that we need to take him seriously when it comes to the possibility of a fake alien invasion. But we also need to consider some of the other things that he has said so we don't go off the rails entirely, meaning we need to listen with discernment. For example, he has said that there's no such thing as actual alien abductions, and there's no such thing as actual alien animal mutilations. He says that, the deep state, the intelligence community, the government, whatever you want to call it, I'll just call it the government to keep it simple. He said actually they're the ones that have done all of these things around the planet, and they did it in order to scare everybody and make everyone afraid of aliens. So if you think you've been abducted, you actually haven't been. You were just abducted by the government's fake alien scenario. Now, I was thinking about this and I was thinking, what would it take to pull that off? Can you imagine the infrastructure, the management, the international structure that you would have to create to pull this off for decades all around the world? The spaceships to be human-made spaceships, the aliens to be fake aliens. I think he said that when they first started, they would dress, he called them little people, dress them up to look like gray aliens. And then when they got more sophisticated, they've invented robot gray aliens, but it was all fake and it was all meant just to get people afraid of extraterrestrials. So he says that all of this was done, this massive theatrical undertaking. It's like, I can't even imagine who would organize it, in order to get people really, really afraid of extraterrestrials for the purpose of inevitably pulling off this fake alien invasion and believing them when they tell us that the aliens or the extraterrestrials are a threat. Now, I was thinking about this, and if this is true, personally, I don't really believe it. It might be partly true, but I don't think it's true for all of these experiences. But here's the funny thing. If it were true, it would be so typical of the controllers and their craziness, and here is why. I mean, if you wanted to create a secret plan, one that is so massively elaborate and huge and global in structure. I mean, we're talking massive, you guys. Designed to scare people about extraterrestrials to prepare them for the fake alien invasion years and years down the road. Then why would you choose a scenario that no one sees, no one remembers, no one believes, and no one talks about? And in fact, if you even mention such a thing, you're going to be ridiculed as being some kind of a crazy person. I mean, that is a little bit of a weird way to try to get people afraid of extraterrestrials. Like, make sure no one finds out about it, make sure no one knows about it, no one remembers it, no one talks about it. That doesn't sound to me like a very good plan to get the public really afraid of ETs. If that's your plan to get people scared, then I think it casts some doubt on your ability to pull off a bigger fake alien invasion. I mean, I'm just saying. So apparently what we're being set up for right now is through the media, because this is definitely what they're saying. Oh, there are these things of flying around our military installations and they're like a threat and we don't know who they are and we don't know what they are. Supposedly they want to justify starting some weird kind of shooting war with the extraterrestrials in space. I mean, these guys really start to seem comical after a while. I mean, can you imagine the actual extraterrestrials watching this and just like, what is wrong with these people? Now, if I had heard this like 2 or 3 years ago, I think I would have just like laughed it off, like there's no way, that's not going to happen, right? However, look at what's happened to us in the last year and a half. Look at what they've done in the last year and a half. They have actually succeeded in getting everyone to cover their face all the time, not care about breathing, not care about a whole lot of things that used to be very, very precious to us. I mean, this is like the most bizarre, surreal, dystopian weirdness you could ever imagine. So if you look at what's gone on in the last year and a half, it's not all that far-fetched to imagine that they could come up with this plan too, to intensify their lockdown, intensify their control, intensify everything they've been doing so far. So I think it's entirely plausible that they could come up with a whole bunch of fake info from the Pentagon and say, well, the Pentagon has discovered that the aliens, blah, 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 and they can just steer this thing any way they want. So I'm bringing this up with you guys now in May because I really think we're being set up for something. I'm not sure what, but something's going on with the media. I know that these major government figures have said, oh, yes, the extraterrestrials are helping us. But if the extraterrestrials are helping these governments and we look at our planet now, they can't be really good ones, right? Like helping them do what exactly? Ruin our lives? So I think you can see how things could potentially get a lot crazier. So now that I've said all of that, let us look at reality. Let's take a look at how we really probably ought to be preparing ourselves. I think what we ought to do is we ought to just bypass all this government insanity, all this junk. I mean, this stuff is crazy, right? When it comes to extraterrestrials, I think we should just say, no, we're not listening to you. You people are insane. And just chart our own path. Chart our own path forward. We're galactic citizens. I've said this many times, right? We are galactic citizens. We do not have to listen to crazy people about what is going on in the universe. Crazy people being the controllers, right? We do not have to listen to them. We don't. We can actually take our lives back, take our consciousness back, take our intelligence back, take command of our own intelligence and say, hold on, you guys are just nuts, right? You guys are nuts, really. And we're smarter than you, right? We could say that. We are actually smarter than you. I know you don't believe, this is if we're talking to the controllers, right? I know you don't believe this, but we actually are more intelligent than you guys are because we can actually focus on reality just using our own common sense and our own intellect. So what is reality, right? What do you think reality is? The reality is probably pretty clear. We live in an extraterrestrial universe. We are surrounded by life. There are multiple untold numbers of civilizations all around us, many way more advanced than we are, and others who are just kind of messed up, right? Because it's not like, oh, we're the bad guys and everyone else is good. I mean, some people believe that. Some people believe that we humans are the only bad creatures in our part of the cosmos and everyone else is good. Everyone else is better than us. Everyone else is smarter than us. That's not reasonable, okay? What is reasonable is that we use our what I call cosmic common sense. We do not have to listen to all of this nonsense. We do not have to believe all of this nonsense just because it comes from the media and the government. Think about it this way. If you agree within yourself that of course there has to be life in this universe. There couldn't be like this tiny little planet is the only life. What do you think the possibilities are? There's unlimited possibilities for how life could be manifesting. The real question is, are we tired of being isolated as a planet? Are we tired of being isolated as a civilization? Are we tired of the lie that there's no one else out there? And if we're tired of that lie, why don't we invest our energy in preparing ourselves to re-enter not only the galaxy, but re-enter the cosmos of intelligent life and do what is necessary to evolve ourselves and prepare ourselves to re-enter it? Because I really do not think it is wise, given what the controllers of this planet have put us through, I do not think it is wise to let them tell us how that is supposed to work. Okay? They, to me, are the last people on earth that we should ever be listening to. I mean, I think if nothing else, if everything that's happened and all of this kind of, alien invasion rhetoric, if this has taught us nothing else, it should have taught us that, you know what? It's time for us to listen to ourselves and stop listening to those guys, because they're just going to make us all crazy. They kind of already have in a lot of ways, right? So I kind of see the month of May as, again, sort of like a pause before the next weirdness starts to unfold. I really think we have a window of opportunity here where we can allow ourselves to be aware of what they're doing, but we really should be smart enough by now to know that these guys, they'll do anything that's crazy, right? So we can use this month as we go from May into June to get really centered, really conscious, really clear, and I think it comes down to making a decision. Making a personal decision for each individual. Who are you going to listen to? Are you going to listen to the crazy people that have ruined our planet? Or are you going to listen to your heart? Are you going to listen to your own higher intelligence? Are you finally going to realize that you need to turn within to your own inner being, your own inner wisdom that recognizes, see, we automatically know there is a much higher level of consciousness. Have you noticed that we actually know that? We don't have to be told that. We kind of know that. So why don't we explore that within ourselves? There is a universe within us. There is an infinite universe inside each and every one of us. So I recommend that in the month of May, we start to explore the universe within. You don't need a spaceship for that, you guys. You don't need government authorities and the media to tell you how that works. That is your domain. You get to go in there and explore and discover and learn and raise your consciousness from within yourself. Based on your own higher intelligence, it's already within you. You don't have to acquire a higher intelligence. Higher intelligence lives within you right now. All you have to do is go there and explore, starting with your heart. So if we look at the energy of May, the month of May, I think this is an opportune time to not only raise our vibration. I mean, we need to do that, but that's not the only thing we need to do. We need to really come to terms with what we give authority to in our lives. Because think about it this way. Whatever we assign authority to, that's where our consciousness goes. That's where our energy goes, and that's where our attention goes. So do we want to give those valuable assets that are ours? Because all of those things, consciousness, energy, and attention, are valuable assets. Do we want to give those assets over to the crazy people that are ruining our planet, that are destroying our lives? Why? We don't need to do that. We need to take back those assets, keep them within ourselves, and say, you know what? We can each do this individually. I'm going to explore those assets. I am going to reclaim those assets, hold on to them as incredibly valuable. I'm not giving them away to all these crazy people. Remember when I say crazy people, who I'm talking about, right? The controllers. I'm not going to give them away to these crazy people. I'm going to hold on to them. I'm going to nurture them. I'm going to explore and use those assets to evolve myself. Because honestly, really take a step back and look at these guys. Do you think it's a big stretch to raise your level of intelligence higher than where they are? No, it's not. It's not a stretch, you guys. It's not a far reach to elevate yourself above, in terms of consciousness, where they are. We just have to stop the false belief that they're smarter than we are just because they control us. That's not true. It only looks that way because we have spent eons of time believing them. All we have to do is stop believing them. Just see them for what they are. It doesn't involve a physical fight. It doesn't involve a physical battle. It starts within you. It starts with you recognizing your own assets and not turning them over to a bunch of crazy people. So I hope that makes sense to you guys. Basically, what I'm really saying is this. If we want to leave this prison of a lie that there's no one else out there, and then when we're told someone's out there, we're told a bunch of lies about who is out there. If we want to leave that prison of lies, if we really do want to re-enter this cosmos as a viable humanity who is a part of the bigger universe, we got to start with our own consciousness. That's where I strongly suggest that you put your effort, your energy, and your focus. Use your common sense to imagine what it might take for us to come into alignment with actual civilized people, extraterrestrials, who live at a much higher level of life. What would that take for each one of us to integrate with that? How would we have to be able to integrate with that? And then that can actually give you some guidance from within yourself, just because we're smart. You guys, we're not stupid. And just think about, how would I need to be if I was going to integrate with a much higher level of intelligence, with a more civilized planetary environment? In other words, don't make this Earth your only touchstone for reality. You know more inside of yourself, just from your own, what I always call cosmic common sense, than just what's going on this planet. Okay, so May is an awesome time to just kind of be with these ideas and see what you discover within yourself. See what your inner wisdom teaches you about the cosmos. What does your inner wisdom teach you about a higher level of existence in the extraterrestrial and the wider extraterrestrial universe, and how it is to become a part of that universe? And as far as the idea of a fake alien invasion goes, I think it'd be pretty easy to recognize it. You know how I'm going to recognize it? If it looks like a comic book story, which it probably will. That's probably how you're going to know it's fake, because their version of it is like a comic book. So I hope you have found all of these thoughts interesting. I hope you've enjoyed this video. And if so, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you think would also find this interesting. And be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because I am here every Sunday, Tuesday, and Friday with all new videos. And with that, I'm sending you so much love, light, and positive energy. And I so look forward to seeing you in the next video. Namaste.